Hello guys. So today's topic is tympanometry. Tympanometry is a topic from ENT. So what is tympanometry? Tympanometry is a test used to measure the conductance through the tympanic membrane and the middle ear cavity. So you have to remember it. Now, the photo given below is actually a photo of the tympanometry machine. Questions have generally not been asked from it, but still I prefer that you remember this particular image, that it is a machine used for tympanometry or tympanogram. So a probe is put inside and another probe is put inside. One probe pushes air into it and the tympanic membrane retracts due to its laxity, and then the air comes back and it is sensed by another probe. So this is the mechanism of tympanometry in total. So it is just like using a trampoline. The trampoline is actually a tympanic membrane and this is middle ear cavity. The child falls in the tympanic membrane and then goes up. If the tympanic membrane is more lax, then the child will go more up, and if the tympanic membrane is hard, then the child will go less up. Okay, will jump back less, I mean. So that's it. Now coming to the graphs. So there are various types of tympanometry graphs. First of all, the A type of graph. The A type of graph is actually a normal graph. Okay, it is a normal graph and the peak lies at 0. So first of all, you have to remember it. Then coming AD type of graph. This is AD. D is equal to deep. Where do you see AD type of graph? AD type of graph is seen when the air which is coming back to the transducer is very high, means the compliance is very increased of the tympanic membrane and the middle ear cavity. And where you see this type of increased compliance will be seen when there is oscicular discontinuity and the tympanic membrane is very thick and the pressure is at 0. Then coming to AS type of variety. S means shallow. Shallow means this, a very short peak. A very short peak or shallow peak will be seen again A, because the peak is at 0. This is A because peak is at 0. So A shallow will be seen when there is reduced compliance, means the air which is going back and sensed by the transducer is actually very less in amount, means the tympanic membrane and middle ear cavity is not throwing back air very fast, means compliance is decreased. So where do you see compliance is decreased? When the tympanic membrane will be thick. If the tympanic membrane is thick, then the air won't go back fastly. So thick tympanic membrane. And next is if there is calcification, and we all know calcification means otosclerosis. Then coming to the B type of graph. This is very important. People generally tend to make mistakes in this B type of graph and C type of graph. Okay, so where do you see B type of graph? So first of all, B type of graph is a graph which has no peak. Okay, so why there is no peak? You will see no peak. For example, if this child over here, we have seen, if this child over here was jumping not on a trampoline, but instead of a trampoline, if the child was jumping on a hard surface, then the child was jumping back due to trampoline. But if the child was jumping on a hard surface, will the child will be reverting back upwards? No, the child will stay on ground. Okay, so if the child will stay on ground, just like over here in tympanic membrane, if we throw air into the tympanic membrane and and instead of tympanic membrane, for example, if it hits in a wall or a bony cavity, will the air will be coming back fast? Of course not. So there will be no peak. Okay, so if you don't see any peak, means that the air is actually hitting not on a tympanic membrane, the air is hitting on a wall like surface. So what are the causes? Causes are perforation, CSOM, wax and SOM. In perforation, see, this is perforation, this is tympanic membrane, and there is perforation over here. Okay, so the air goes inside. It was supposed to come back due to the laxity of tympanic membrane, but since it has a perforation, it will go further inside and hit the bone. And since it is a bone, it is just like a wall, the air won't revert back, and hence B type of graph. Second, CSOM and SOM. Okay, in CSOM, SOM, there is fluid filled inside the middle ear cavity. And the tympanic membrane is bulged and hard. So when you throw air over here, it won't be coming back. So here you will again see B type of graph. If, for example, there is wax, if there is wax, the air will be going and hit the wax, and it will never reach the tympanic membrane. Okay, so never reach the tympanic membrane. So it is just like hitting a hard wall, and hence B type of graph. And B type of graph is just like this, flat. Now coming to type C type of graph. In C type of graph, the important part is it is just like A type of graph, which is the normal graph, except the peak is somewhere at minus 250, not at 0. Means that the tympanic membrane is already at a negative pressure. Okay, it is retracting, everything is fine, everything is normal, but it is already at a negative tympanic membrane pressure, negative pressure. So where will you see retracted tympanic membrane, and what is the disease? Negative middle ear pressure. Okay, so that's it. It is a very important topic. You just have to remember A variety, AD variety and its cause, AS variety and its cause, B variety and its cause, C variety and its cause. That's it. And you have to remember the graphs also. That's it. Thank you.